Mr. Collins, I have to ask you something, and I need you to be straight with me. Why do the idiots get the promotions? Why do the guys who barely show up, who snooze at the bar and crack jokes with the boss, why did they close the deals? I am here grinding. I am doing everything right. And I am stuck. I am stuck, Mr. Collins. What is wrong with me?
Nothing is wrong with you, Mark. That is actually the problem.
I am sorry. What?
You are doing everything right. And in the game of wealth, doing everything right is the first way to lose.
Okay, I have heard this before. This is that work smarter, not harder speech, right? Or maybe it is the just believe in yourself chapter from some self-help book that made a millionaire out of the author and nobody else. Is this just more hustle philosophy dressed up in a nice office?
You are not wrong to be skeptical. The hustle industry sold you a beautiful lie. They said the harder you pull the rope, the more you get. But tell me, Mark, have you ever watched a man drowning?
What?
A man who does not know how to swim. He panics. He thrashes. He splashes with everything he has. And what happens?
He sinks faster.
Exactly. Now have you ever watched a man float? He does almost nothing. He simply allows the water to hold him, and he stays above it indefinitely.
That is a beautiful image, Mr. Collins. It really is. But how does floating put dollars in my bank account? How does being calm pay my rent? I have targets. I have bills. I cannot just float.
That is because you have been trained to operate from what I call neediness energy. And neediness energy repels everything you are trying to attract.
Neediness energy. Okay.
I am not talking about spirituality, Mark. I am talking about psychology, about the signals you transmit consciously and unconsciously. Every time you walk into a room, every time you send an email, every time you shake someone's hand, when you need the sale, do you know what the client feels?
Pressure?
They feel like prey, and prey runs.
So the whole time I have been scaring away the very thing I am chasing?
Every single day, and you are not alone. Most people spend their entire careers in chase mode. They exhaust themselves pursuing money, pursuing clients, pursuing approval, and they never stop to ask why it is running from me.
All right. Let us say I believe you. Let us say I have been doing it wrong. Then give me something real. Something I can actually use. Not a metaphor. Not a theory. What do I do differently starting tomorrow?
There are 3 qualities, 3 words that every magnetic person I have ever met has embodied. Not 1, not 2, all 3. And when you engineer all 3 into the way you operate, you stop chasing, and things start arriving. The first word is audacity.
Audacity. Like being aggressive. Being loud?
No, audacity is not aggression. Aggression is desperation wearing armor. Audacity is something quieter and far more powerful. Audacity is the willingness to occupy space you have not been invited into yet. Let me tell you about a man I knew in the 1990s. A young banker. No connections, no family money, no Harvard degree. He walked into the most exclusive investment meeting in New York City. He had not been invited. He simply walked in, found an empty chair, and sat down like he belonged there. And when the room turned to look at him, he did not apologize. He said, "I think I have something you will want to hear."
And they kicked him out.
They gave him a 7-figure deal before lunch. Audacity signals to the world that you have already decided your own value. And people, especially powerful people, they trust that signal. They follow it. Because most of the room is secretly waiting for someone to tell them who to believe in.
And they kicked him out.
They gave him a 7-figure deal before lunch. Audacity signals to the world that you have already decided your own value. And people, especially powerful people, they trust that signal. They follow it. Because most of the room is secretly waiting for someone to tell them who to believe in.
Okay, what is the second word?
Strategic listening.
Listening. That is your secret weapon?
It is the most underestimated weapon in the history of commerce. Tell me something, Mark. When you are in a conversation with a potential client, a boss, an investor, what are you thinking about while they are talking?
What I am going to say next.
Everyone is. That is why almost no one is actually listening. And here is the extraordinary thing about genuine, strategic listening. When a person feels truly heard, not managed, not handled, but heard, they experience something close to euphoria. Their brain releases the same chemicals as physical touch. And in that moment, they associate that feeling with you. You become the person who made them feel understood. In a world where everyone is screaming to be heard, you are the one who listened. Do you understand how rare that is? How powerful that is?
So listening is not passive. It is actually an act of control.
It is the deepest form of influence that exists. Dale Carnegie understood this. He said you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. But Carnegie's insight goes even deeper than friendship. It goes to wealth, because the person who truly listens learns what others want, and the person who knows what others want will never run out of things to offer.
Okay, third word.
Abundance mindset. And before you roll your eyes,
I was not going to.
you were. Abundance mindset is not positive thinking. It is not a vision board. It is a strategic recalibration of how you interpret the world around you. The scarcity mind sees one pie and panics when someone else takes a slice. The abundance mind sees one pie and thinks, I know how to bake. Here is what it changes practically. When you operate from scarcity, you cling. You undercharge because you are afraid this might be your last client. You overpromise because you are terrified they will leave. You sabotage relationships out of jealousy. And every single one of those behaviors broadcasts to the world that you do not believe in your own supply.
And people sense that.
Instantly, like dogs sense fear. Wealth is no different. The moment you communicate, through your posture, your pricing, your silences in conversation, that you believe opportunities are limited and time is running out, you have already lost the room. But the man who operates from abundance does not chase the deal. He presents the opportunity. There is a vast difference, and the world treats those two men completely differently.
Mr. Collins, I hear all of this, and it is starting to make sense. But here is my real problem. It is not just about my mindset. It is about the world. It is cutthroat out there. I have competitors who will lie, who will undercut, who will steal clients without blinking. How does being magnetic protect me from that? How does this philosophy survive actual combat?
You have just asked me the most important question of this entire conversation. And the answer is a concept so counterintuitive that most people reject it immediately. But it is the secret that separates the truly wealthy from the merely successful. It is called creating the void.
Creating the void.
Imagine a vacuum, a space of absolute emptiness. What does nature do with a vacuum?
It fills it.
Nature rushes to fill it, frantically, inevitably. You cannot stop it. It is one of the few absolute laws of the physical world. Now here's the question that changed my life, Mark, and I want you to sit with it. What if you could create a vacuum in the social and financial world?
How?
By withdrawing your desperation, by removing yourself from the scramble. When every competitor is shouting, you go quiet. When everyone is chasing, you stop moving. When the market floods one direction, you plant your flag in the opposite field and you wait. Here is what happens in the room, in any room, business or personal. When one person stops competing, every eye gravitates toward them because the human mind is wired to find the anomaly, the still point in the turning world. And that stillness reads as power. Carnegie knew this. The greatest salesmen, the greatest leaders, they never pitched. They posed a question. They created a space that the other person needed to fill. And in filling that space, the other person sold themselves.
They were not pushing. They were pulling.
Gravity does not chase. It does not argue. It does not hustle. It simply is. And everything within range bends toward it. Your competition cannot fight that. You cannot out-scheme gravity. You cannot undercut it. You cannot steal from it. The man operating from true magnetism is not in the competition. He has stepped entirely outside the game. And from that position, he sets the terms.
I have been fighting so hard. When the whole time.
You were fighting the current instead of learning to read the river. The river was always going to move. Your only job was to find the channel that carries you and stop swimming against it.
Okay, Mr. Collins. I believe you. I feel it. But here is what is going to happen the moment I walk out that door. The noise starts again. The pressure starts again. Monday morning emails, targets, the boss breathing down my neck. Where do I start? What is the one thing, the first thing, I do to actually become this person?
You start by burning your net.
My net.
You have been fishing with a net, Mark. Casting wide, dragging hard, pulling in everything you can. Minnows, debris, seaweed. Exhausting yourself for a catch that barely feeds you. And because the net catches something, you keep using it. You are afraid to stop, because stopping feels like losing. But there are men, very few, very quiet men, who do not use nets. They sit at the edge of still water, and they fish for whales.
And how do you fish for whales?
Next time, I will show you how to read the water, how to know where the whales are, how to cut your line at exactly the right moment, and how to let the whale swim towards you instead of away from you. But first, I need you to ask yourself one honest question tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight. Are you ready to burn your old net and start attracting the whales? The man who learns to stop chasing is the man everything chases instead.